Welcome back to Alliance War. It is Season 42, War 4, and the undefeated 4 Loki is facing the undefeated LVT. This is a reunion tour season for us, apparently. We already had our SSX matchup early on. Now we get the folks in LVT. It's up to TJ, Carl, Lizer, and the crew. Alrighty, so this particular war, I'm once again going to get to bring my 7-star sunspot. I'm going to bring Warlock, who I can't even remember the last time that I used Warlock in war. He's a great champion. I just never really use him. And Mags. I have the only rank 4 Magneto available for attack in the battle group, and so if there's a Magneto fight, it's got to be me. Here I'm looking at these synergies, and this is kind of low-key important because a lot of the synergies between these 3 champions, and there are quite a few, affect their specials. Increasing attack, decreasing combat power gain rate. And I didn't really factor that in later on because I'm, again, not champs I'm used to using in concert and war together, and it will end up impacting me in my very last fight. So we're going to start off on path 7A. This is a Crossbones. He's a global defender, but he's also metal, and so he's Mag's food. My strategy for this particular fight, which I'll speed up for the sake of brevity. I have a lot of fights this war. Less time you spend watching me just punch Crossbones, the better. But anyway, my strategy for this particular fight was just to fight him normally, nothing special. You know, this node has that stunning, or not stunning reflection, but the damage reflection if you knock him down, or not if you knock him down. I'll get this right eventually. This node has damage reflection if he purifies a debuff. So I'm trying not to put any debuffs on Crossbones, and I'm hoping that my ability accuracy reduction will prevent the node. I did have on an indestructible boost. Mostly that was for the second fight on this path, but at least I'm getting my money's worth here because I do get punched in the face a few times before I can finish him off with a special 2. All right, next up it's SpiderHam. SpiderHam is always an annoying defender, but one of the classic counters to SpiderHam has always been Warlock because you just parry heavy, you max deep wounds, and you let the bleeds and the degen do their work. The degen applies if the defender was placed with willpower. This ham was placed with willpower, and so it's a very, very simple fight. Parry heavy, I'm going to throw my special ones as soon as I get them. That way there's no nonsense accumulated on SpiderHam. No real danger to this fight whatsoever. Very, very, very easy. It's good to have a few easy fights at the start of a war, just to sort of let you get your confidence. In this particular case, it sort of gave me an irrational level of confidence because of the next fight I have, which I did not want to do, but I had no choice. And so let's get into this Zemo on 22. What a disaster. I dueled this fight a ton because I wanted to practice the spacing so that way I could counter his heavy and his SB1. And so in the 15, 20 duels I did, I got into a very comfortable rhythm. I'm soloing, this guy with my 4-star. I have a 6-star rank 3 version of Zemo. And this fight was nothing like any of my duels. I think partly it's a function of the fact that you can't replicate the global in those duels. Additionally, you can't, and that just straight up matters, right? So I've taken a lot of chip damage at the beginning of the fight, pushed him to a special 3. I'm not worried at all at this stage in the game. I'm gonna tank the special 3. I've got an invul on, so it's perfectly fine. I'm just not really happy with how the math is lining up in terms of the amount of damage that I can do. And I went into this fight, I think, with an incorrect theory. I was really, really worried about putting debuffs on Zemo, him cleansing them, and then him being able to root me. And so you can see that I held on to my specials. In retrospect, I probably should have been spamming at least the special 2. Because here he is throwing his second SB3. And at this rate, I'm not doing enough damage wherein I can tank 3 special 3s and win the fight. Not great. I'm unable to be baiting these SB1s. All of my attempts at repairing are failing miserably, and this fight is just not going my way. I finally bait an SB1. That's good. The bad news is that I lose the last part of my indestructible. This fight, I'm not feeling great about. Either at the time or as I rewatch it and record, this commentary. So I'm going to throw my SB3. I did this because I was like, let me get some damage in on this guy. Let me see what I can do. I'm grasping for ways out of this predicament. And I do get the knockdown from the SB3, which means that I can now power burn. I finally get a special 1 spacing correctly. Still can't reparry to save my friggin' life. I go to punish she dexes, obviously. So now I can get a full 5-hit combo, but I'm looking at it and dude's almost back up at a special 2. The power gain here is just kind of crazy. Which is, I think, why I should have been spamming the specials. I'm going to have to talk to Legacy to this fight in BG3. I'll watch his video and talk to him and see how he did it. But this is clearly not the way to do it. So I pushed him back up to 3 bars of power. I throw the SB2 as a Hail Mary. Fortunately, Zemo is the nicest person on planet Earth. Doesn't throw the special 3. And so I get a real lucky solo. That should have been a death. Absolutely should have died. But I don't. And what can you say about that mess other than that was terrible? Okay, so surviving that, now I have to go do this future AntMan fight on 24. This is not a difficult fight because future AntMan is metal. So I'll just speed this up and get through it. I did these fights in an Uber on my way to a concert. Not that would have changed anything. It's just, that last fight was in my head. I'm going to get through this fight perfectly fine. And there's no real danger for Magneto here at all. It's just sort of embarrassed about how I played versus Zemo. You put in a lot of effort into a fight and it goes like as badly as that. And you're just like, jeez, why do I even play this game? So here's the special 3. This will wipe out future AntMan. And we can move on to the Mantis on path 1B. I don't know what it is about Mantis. She has been messing with me since she was introduced into this game. I always have problems fighting her. I can't get the timing of her heavy down. Well, look, I can't really do a lot of things in this game. I'm not particularly skilled, but she drives me nuts. So, I'm going to run into her heavy right there, and that's annoying. Now I'm going to go to punish a heavy, and instead she's just going to throw a special right into my face and half my health. Sidestepping me with a special to the face. That's going to come back again this war. Good God. I hate fighting Mantis. Someone I'm okay fighting here is this OJ's Weapon X. I'm going to be using Warlock. Number 1 option is always going to be Nimrod, but can't bring 4 champs yet, so here we are with Warlock. And the only danger that I can really think of to this particular fight is throwing your SB2 and triggering his rage. And so, of course, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Not great. Let me get an intercept here. Oh, nope, I got a parry in. Nice. And, of course, I throw the SB2 directly into his unstoppable. Always great. Then I hit into his unstoppable. Even better. Just really doing a great job. Fortunately, I'm able to special intercept with the SB2. Now I can get into the typical rhythm of fighting Weapon X. Back up to a special 2 because of the power back boost, and he's toast. So another fight where I look completely incompetent but somehow managed to get through. this fight is actually okay. It's one of the few okay fights I had this war. It's bishop on 46. I knew that this defender was placed with willpower because it's the same person who plays the future AntMan. And so I just went back and looked at that video before I did this fight, made sure that willpower was active. So that makes this fight tremendously easy. I'll just build up to my infection, and then I'll just be parry heavy like I'm fighting SpiderHam. And I'll just let the infection, degen, and bleeds do the work here. Bishop will never, ever, ever get to a special 1, and I will easily solo this fight. There's my buddy letting me know that the line for the concert is insane. Don't worry, I made it. All right, 2 more fights this war. Had a 9-fight war. We've got mags on node 53, the Stunning Reflection, Polka Dot Power. We're obviously going to be using sunspot. It's a great counter here. We're just going to do special 1, special 2, and pretty simple. I do make, you know, there's a, if you want to call it a mistake, that's fine. I accept that label right there. Game says I parried. I don't think I parried, but you know, whatever. But I've got my special 1 off. Now I just need to sort of build back to the special 2, and I can end the fight. But you know, Sunspot is so powerful. He's doing just a ton of damage. I mean, those are like 10,000, 13,000 mediums. I'm at the special 2, I just need to get it off. Let me hit block, do a little bit of damage, and now there's the window, and Mags is dead. Okay, so final fight this war is Sauron on 55. I figured I could just nuke this thing with Sunspot. And the big tactical mistake that I make is in the power back boost, I had put on a 200% power back boost, and that's just way too much. I needed to have a 150. So I hit the guy with the SP1, and everything's fine. I'm going to go ahead and block there, and I just do it at the wrong time. He sidesteps me and throws a special 2 to my face and takes away about half my health. So I throw an SP2, and I shoot up to an SP3 because of the 200% power back boost and the synergies. It's just way too much damage. And I needed the 150 so I would be back in range of a second special 2. If I'm at a second special 2, I can just throw it real quick, and even at a block, it'll kill Sunspot. But instead, he shot up, you know, I'm shooting up to 3 bars of power. He's almost at 3 bars of power because of all the prowess he has interacting with the global. I throw the SP3, and Sunspot's SP3 does absolutely nothing. He's got enough of health that he can survive the SP3, but the degeneration's like over 4,000 a second. He ain't surviving that. And so I have my first death of the season, you know. I didn't really, you know, it is what it is. I should have died to Zemo. Instead, I died to Sauron. Okay. See you in the next life, Jack.